Hey there, it's Aaron. Continuing this, I'm recording this back-to-back with the first video I did on Yoko Ono's music. This is continuing from that, going up from 1980 to, I guess, present day. So I'll just get started here. Again, Johnny Yoko retired from the music business 1975 once their son Sean was born. And then around 1979, 1980, they started writing new songs. And that album, of course, was 1980's Double Fantasy. Great album. What I'm holding here is the 2010 reissue and remaster, when the Lennon catalog was remastered and reissued for John's 70th birthday 4 years ago. So, and for Double Fantasy, Yoko decided that to make a different mix of the album and called it Double Fantasy Stripped Down. And this is the cover for Stripped Down, which is drawn by Sean, very good artist. And the Stripped Down mix is really, really cool. I haven't heard it a lot, but from what I remember, it's really, really, really good. If you don't know what they mean by stripped down, remember what they did with Let It Be, with Let It Be Naked? This is sort of like that. So, yeah, you really get to hear the vocals close up and get to hear little things that you never heard before. And it comes with the remaster of the album, which is good. The album is very great album. Now for Yoko's songs, I said Kiss 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 was okay for me. Give Me Something is good. I'm Moving On is great. This I'm Your Angel and Beautiful Boys are good. So is Every Man Has a Woman Who Loves Him. I really like Hard Times Are Over. I think that's a great way to close out the album. And it's also a very sad way to close out the album because Hard Times were far from over. Because a month after this album, less than a month after this album came out, John was murdered. Very, very sad. I also have this out. I have my dad's copy is somewhere else, but that's an older master. I do have it on vinyl. I did mention that my dad's vinyl got washed in, along with my other parents' records, they all got wrecked in a flood. This is my uncle's copy. This is his brother's copy. So luckily he still has his, and it looks wonderful, and it sounds wonderful too. So, very nice to have this. Now, after John was murdered, Yoko spent a few weeks, I don't know how long it was until she went back to the studio, but by the next year she had an album out, and it's a very good album of hers, one of my favorites of hers. It's Season of Glass. I have this on vinyl. Ripped this from the vinyl a few years ago. Got this 2008. As you can tell, the cover is very, very striking. Those are John's bloodshot glasses. Really, really good album. Goodbye Sadness, Mindweaver. I think my favorite is Nobody Sees Me Like You Do. Dogtown is good. She Gets Down on Her Knees, Mother of the Universe, Toy Boat, Extension 33, I think. Every song on here is good, but yeah, great album. And it's the same band that was on Double Fantasy, so that works out too. Her next album is It's Alright I See Rainbows. That one I do not own on hard copy. I borrowed the vinyl from my college's radio station. It was one of the first vinyls I borrowed from them. I remember picking it out, and the station manager went up to me and she says, "Oh, what are you borrowing?" And I showed her what I had, and she looks at the Yoko album and she says, "Really?" It's alright. Is alright. It's okay. I mean, it's a follow the season of Glass. I mean, it's a bit weak, but there's some good songs on there. My Man, not a favorite. Never Say Goodbye is really good. The title track's not bad, which would be It's Alright. Loneliness, I would really have to listen to this album again, but from what I remember, it's okay. Yeah, by this point she was moving into new wave territory, which I think everybody was doing then in the 80s. So. Then in 1984, the last album that John ever recorded was released, and I'm surprised that there was still a lot of material recorded in that short amount of time. 1984, Milk and Honey, sort of a follow-up to Double Fantasy. Yoko, from what I just read online, Yoko went into the studio and she worked on her songs by herself, and she left John's songs untouched. Maybe there were some instrumentals that were done or re-recorded, but Yoko, I think for the most part, she recorded most of her songs in after 1980, so when this was recorded, when John's songs were recorded. Compared to Double Fantasy, this is weaker, and it really hurts me to say that because I mean, John's songs are pretty good on here. A hit came out of Nobody Told Me, a song that he actually offered Ringo, but once John passed, Ringo didn't want to be messing with the dead man's music, according to him. So Yoko released John's version. It became a hit. So I'm stepping out. I don't want to face it. There's John songs, but in terms of Yoko's, hers is nearing the new wave territory, which is not bad. Sleepless Night is pretty funny. I don't know if it's supposed to be. Sorry. Don't Be Scared. It's good. Your Hands. You're the One. Hey, it's okay. Her material on here is okay. John's songs are really great. But as a whole album, it's weaker than Double Fantasy. But is it bad? No. It's okay. This is the 2001 issue. The first time it was put on CD since probably the 1980s. I don't know. I got this in Disney World. No joke, at the Virgin Megastore, which is now kaput. Alright, next up is Star Piece, released in 85. Like It's Alright, this is another one I borrowed from the radio station on vinyl. It's a pretty weak album. From what I remember reading in the liner notes, or on the cover, and it's already here on Wikipedia, the album was released as a response to Ronald Reagan's Star Wars defense system. The only song I really like on here, Hell in Paradise. And there's some good songs on here. I can't remember. There's probably two other good songs, but I can't really remember. I think Sky People was good a little bit. I don't know. I really don't listen to this album all that much. But I'll say just Hell in Paradise is good. That's a good, and it's has a wacky video. Yeah. I also have her compilation, her greatest hits set. I don't know where that is right now, but I don't have it with me here. But which I think was narrowed, watered down set of her box set, Ono box, and it's called Walking on Thin Ice. And I got it just because I wanted the song, Walking on Thin Ice. That's probably a good place to start if you want to get a compilation. Get that one, Walking on Thin Ice. That's what it's called. And it has Walking on Thin Ice is probably her. In fact, it is her most famous track. It was the last thing that John recorded. That very, very haunted guitar riff. It's sometimes hard to listen to. But I think she released it shortly after John passed. And it's been known that when John was shot, he was holding a copy of it on cassette in his hand. But it's a good place to start. The songs, however, are all remixes, if you can bear that. They're not too different from the originals, but it's a good place to start. Then her next two albums I got, they're her two more recent albums I got from iTunes and Amazon's MP3 store. The next one would be Between My Head and the Sky, released 2009. That was her first album in about many, many years. What, 8, 9 years? Almost 10 years. That's a good album, and she made that with Sean, because now they've revived the Plastic Ono band with an all Japanese lineup. I would have to check the tracking list for Between My Head and the Sky. It's a good album. It's a really solid album, and I haven't heard it in a while. But Waiting for the D Train's good. The Sun Is Down. Ask the Elephant. I'm Going Away Smiling. I think Watching the Rain is one of the more electronic ones I like. Yeah, it's a good one. And then her one from last year, way of celebrating her 80th birthday. Take Me to the Land of Hell. Good album. Not as good as Between My Head and the Sky, but very, very good. This one, she was starting to embrace more of the electronics, because in recent years her songs have been remixed by like dance mixes, or like a bunch of dubstep artists or whatnot. They've remixed her songs, and she's scored a few number ones in the dance charts, so it's good for her. Do I like the mixes? Personally, I'm not a fan of it, but I mean, at least some crowd is appreciating her music in some form. I mean, that's great to hear. In terms of Take Me to the Land of Hell, Cheshire Cat is good. Tabatai is really great. Bad Dancer, which I think involves members of the Beastie Boys. I don't even like them, and the song is good. New York Noodle Town, Leaving Tim. I mean, this is a pretty good album. It hasn't been that long, and I can remember it pretty well. It's shorter than I was able to do an email interview with Yoko in 2007, because I'm a very, very lucky person. I'll tell you. How it came about was it was about, yeah, it was Thanksgiving 2007. For years I had known that someone on my dad's side of the family, I won't give the relation, without giving away too much detail about my family. It was somebody on my dad's side of the family, and he's a lawyer, and he had John and Yoko as clients back in the day. Wow. And even after John's passing, he still worked with Yoko, and I think he still does today. But it was Thanksgiving 2007. We were at the guy's house, this family member, having Thanksgiving. Their vacation home, I think. It was somewhere in the Poconos, and I had been meaning to ask the guy if there was any way I could, talk to Yoko or have an interview. And he said, well, it's a 1 in a million shot. I mean, what do you have? And I said, well, I was thinking about maybe 10 questions. Oh, okay, well, just email them to me and I'll see what Yoko says. Seemed like, well, she may not, but I gave it a shot. I sent 10 questions. A week later, answers came back from the guy, not Yoko, but her answers were very short. The most interesting piece of information was that the Peace Tower had been unveiled at that point, and I asked her what was it doing in Iceland, and she gave an answer that Iceland uses resources and energy, which I thought was a very interesting answer. And yeah, nothing bad to say about her. She's wonderful, and I think she's, I mean, some people will argue that she hasn't. I think she has carried out John's legacy just fine. I think without her, we wouldn't have any of all the. I think we probably would, but probably not to the extent that she's been doing them. I mean, her and Sean, they've always been doing fundraisers and resurrecting ideas like the Smile film, which was an idea that she and John had, and now it's an app. I mean, just a bunch of ideas. I mean, she's still going. I mean, now she's 81. Nothing bad to say about her, and she's not the villain that they've made her out to be. All right, even Paul has said this. I mean, she and Paul were not on very good terms for years and years and years because how crazy the last years of the Beatles were. Everything's calmed down, and yeah, I think Yoko's a brilliant person, brilliant artist, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any recommendations as to which albums of Yoko's I should get, I didn't mention them all. If you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching.